So let's talk about arranging our music, because there are a lot of options here. Now, what I suggest is that you start with a song that is a straight up loop, specifically a short loop, maybe 4 chords or maybe even 2 chords. Now, if you are wanting to create your own original music, there are a lot of harmonic progressions that you can start with. Maybe you start with G, G, A, C, C, B, B. And there we have a simple little idea that you can build upon from there. So when we are talking about a tune that straight up loops, we have decisions to make. Do we first loop and capture the melody? And if you saw my last video, I played Last of the Mohicans, and that's how I started. Or do we start out with a combination of harmony and rhythm, like I did with Viva la Vida? Or maybe we start with a bass line. A lot of different ideas. Whatever you start with, you got to make absolutely sure it is precise, because all of your other loops will be that length exactly. What I commonly like to do is start with some sort of rhythmic harmony build, and that could be and so you hear I have pretty straight rhythms. It's not that rhythmically interesting. And then the next thing I might want to add is an actual rhythm. And I can do that a myriad of ways with tapping, or I can beatbox into a microphone if I have that input for my pedal. What I think is fun is to consider all the possible ways you can input sound and really experiment with your instrument, whether it's an electric instrument or your acoustic into a microphone. In that regard, I was able to slap my bridge to get that kick drum sound, and I even discovered use of a ring to get a different timbre. You could use the buttons on your shirt, but be really creative. A lot of times you'll find happy accidents that you accidentally make a sound that gets recorded into your loop station. I would consider really using that in future performances. What I've done so far is created a basic harmony, and then I created a little rhythm track. And if I'm on a keyboard, I can do that even faster. I can play numerous notes at once, or on a guitar, so I can really get that harmonic structure. And then if you want to, because we are arranging our very own work, if we listen to something on the radio, it's got rhythm, it's got chords, it's got bass, and that's what makes a lot of our music really flesh out. So that might be the third thing that you add. Let's start the loop again. And the bass can be rhythmic. You can hear it has a little hitch in it. It doesn't quite line up. Sounds like I need to practice a little bit more. So I'll stop that one for you as well. And then very commonly I take that time to set up the pad, I call it, and then I can finally start playing my melody. What's fun for audiences is to listen to that build, and they might not be sure what the song is, and then we drop it. We drop the melody, or maybe we drop a familiar bass line. So really think about the order that you want to create it, and also think about how interesting it is. I can take 2 minutes to set it all up, but will my audience still be interested? It just depends on the song. The next thing to talk about are those songs, that music, my resources. Where can I find this music if maybe I don't play by ear? 2 resources that I have found really useful. Sheet Music Plus is a resource where a lot of individuals like you and me, we upload our music and they sell it for us, and they go through all the copyright procedure. It is a pay resource, but very often it's a low cost, and you can find maybe a saxophone quartet of a song that you want to play, or maybe it's somebody who put up their own looping music. Another place that is free and it's just crowdsourced is MuseScore. And MuseScore is, again, for folks like you and me, and we have just uploaded our version of something, and it might be the most obscure duet in the world, tuba and oboe, but it's my version. Now, one of the tricks with MuseScore is that the music is not always copyright protected, and it's not for sale. So just be careful as you venture into that and how you're using that music to represent yourself. And you can find a lot of arrangements out there, and then simply you read that, and like I was talking about before, you can see it all. You can see the bass part, you can see the chords, and figure out how you want to build those. Maybe you want to play that bass line first, and then you want to add the chords. Maybe you want your chords to be backbeats. And you might remember I was playing Get Back as one of our exercises in the last video. So a lot of ideas on how you build it up. Take a lot of time to listen to it. If you enjoy it, other people will probably enjoy it too. In our next video, we're going to talk more about thinking like a producer and how we would produce the music. I also have a list for you that I will make available of many, many songs that are just straight 4 and 3 and 2 chord loops. Maybe a reference to get you started. One of them might be of interest to you. Finally, never leave the music out of the loop. I've seen commonly people set up a nice little jam, and then they spend the next 8 minutes playing 1,010 notes, and unless you are Jimi Hendrix or I don't know who, Jeff Beck or Chick Corea, it's not going to be that interesting. So make sure that you're really paying attention to how musical your performance is, that you're not just playing for your own sake, but you're really focusing on sharing and inspiring members of your audience. All right, folks. So like I said, in our next video, we're going to talk more about how we can use the RC300 loop station that allow us to create very complicated loops, things that might have an A part, a B part, and a C part, which you obviously can't stack on top of each other. So we'll talk about that, and also some other production ideas and incorporating more instruments, how we can input all of those instruments into one loop station because it only has so many inputs. Be sure to check out more information about the AMA Virtual Academy. I am Peter Marcus, and you can see more of my work on social media at Peter Marcus Music on Facebook, Instagram, and I have a lot of live looping performance videos on YouTube. Thank you for listening, my friends, and stay well. Subscribe, like, and follow at Peter Marcus Music.